Hello there. Today, we're gonna make a non-spoiler review for the book "To Kill a Mockingbird" by Harper Lee. Before I start this, another exterior video, and this huge announcement for the book "To Kill a Mockingbird." It's an amazing and awesome read for all ages. That's the first thing I'd like to say about it. There is a common thing. I think it's said by Lewis Carroll. It was once quoted by Rick Riordan. It said, "A book enjoyed by adults is not a good kids book. Similarly, a book enjoyed by kids is not a good adults book." But what do you do about books which are, I don't know, enjoyed by both kids and adults? So, To Kill a Mockingbird is one such book where you get all sorts of stuff which has got to do with racism, socialism, realism, and a lot of theoretical and deep philosophical themes revolving around the most simplest child's point of view. To be very precise, it's in a 6-year-old child's point of view, and that is Scout. So that kind of a plot where you actually deal with all these serious stuff, but you more interestingly go around with a child's point of view is something which is probably very innovative for me. I never seen such a book. And secondly, the book is really serious. If you just have a look at the details and the description of every which thing, you're just supposed to be amazed. If you're unable to enjoy To Kill a Mockingbird, you're probably the worst person I would ever meet. I'm sorry to say this, but seriously, that is the most interesting book. I've heard many comments, they say it's boring, but it really isn't if you're actually analyzing the book, being a kid and an adult. So, the story revolves around just the basic plot of the book, revolves around two kids, Jem and Scout. It is Jeremy Lewis Finch and Scout Lewis Finch, and these two are basically like brother and sister, and their father Atticus Finch. Atticus Finch is a lawyer in a local magistrate's court, and he's dealing with a Negro's case. He's defending a Negro on a rape case, which is supposedly done by the Negro. The thing is, the case goes all by itself, but as children, Jem is a 12-year-old kid, and he is, I think, been in the 4th grade, and Scout is starting her school, and she is, I think, 6 or 8 year old. So at this point, they kind of try to discover their own dad being involved in something which is supposedly bad, and they often get comments in social being like schools and amongst relatives and neighbors. People call their dad nigger lover, and children really don't understand that stuff. So the book, being a first person on Scout Finch, is mainly dealing with her anxiety and her anxious reaction towards such things which she basically doesn't understand but still knows it's something got to do with badness. There's also this huge description on the local communities, tribes, neighborhood. Basically, I would love to be in Maycomb. That is the place where it all revolves around. This is a fictional town, supposedly in Alabama, northern Alabama. And thing about Maycomb is it's really diverse. You got tribes like Canignams who do not borrow anything from others unless they can return it, and they, being poor, turn out to be even poorer. And then there is this local tribes, and then the little differentiation between the blacks, the colored, and the whites, the Negroes. And there is this one small family that's got to do with like they're half black and half white. So it's all that sort of stuff that goes around, or that used to at least go around in 1930s. The book was written in 1936, but it was published way later on. So at this point, you really don't criticize the book if it's so realistic. It just charms you up. If you just have a look at the plot or the description, It's probably one of the most detailed and one of the most realistic plot I've ever read about a fictional story. I mean, yeah, I have seen more better descriptions in books like Diary of Anne Frank, for instance, or maybe Steve Jobs' biography or whatsoever, but a fictional book with such detail and with such realistic details, not just fantasy, is just the one thing you could find over here. And another very curious complication that goes around is when Jem is an adolescent, when he's a teenager, and there's little sprouts of hair growing around his armpits, and at that point, he doesn't know how to brag about it, and he needs some time of his own. And his sister cannot bear it when her brother is changed in a very weird way in a very short period of time. So it's kind of funny how it all turns out. Basically, the kid's mom is actually dead, and they are taken care of by Calpurnia, or Cal, the maid, who is also a Negro. Now, having said this, the plot is only dealing with the Yules. Yules are like this half Negro and half white. The family is led by Mr. Yule and her sister Maela Yule. Maela Yule, her daughter actually, and she is like, I think 16 or 17. I think she's going on 17, and she is raped, or supposedly said to be raped, by Tom Robinson, who is a Negro. And Atticus purely believes it's just hogwash, and trusting a Negro is the first thing which actually deals this case into something a lot more obvious. And I hope you don't get spoiled with this. It's just leaving out the spoilers. The thing about this case and how it actually turns out is the backbone of the entire plot, with little twists and turns of the kids. And there's actually another kid which I forgot to mention earlier. He is, I think, his Dill Harris, the Tom Baker's Dill Harris, and he's basically a little elder than Scout, but a lot younger than Jem. And he kind of is just one character which you just cannot stop loving. To be very precise, he is also an orphan, carried out by his aunts and uncles, and they kind of try to pass him around and slap him around once in a while and just try to get rid of him, which he really can't bear, but at this young age he's got nothing else to do. And the other thing about Dill Harris is his fantasizing and his nature of exaggeration, which turns out pretty innocent and cute when you have a look at the plot, so intense, with a little bit of humor here and there by either Dill or Scout or Atticus. Probably the characters, I wouldn't say the book is the best after reading The Perks of Being a Wallflower, but the characters are probably the best characters ever. I mean, you just have a look at Atticus, he's the best father I've ever seen. If you have a look at Dill Harris, he's the best friend I could ever imagine. And the Scout or maybe Jem are probably the best brothers and sisters I've ever seen. Tom Robinson is the most innocent person I've ever thought of, and I wouldn't like to make a spoiler over here, but someone is the most evil person I ever think of. And another thing about this twist in the story is a small thing that's got to do with Boo Radley. Boo Radley, or Mr. Arthur Radley, son of Nathan Radley, is this very strange, evilish guy who actually lives in a nearby house, and the house is always locked and there's cage inside, and the kids are pretty curious on how and what he is, and especially what he is at this point. So that is kind of another character which mysteriorizes you the most. That would complete my review, and at this moment I'm actually trying to quit the video pretty soon just to get rid of a few monkeys. I mean, being in my native place, as you all know, the worst scenario is bar the monkeys. Just have a look at that. I don't know if you're able to see there, but there are a bunch of monkeys all around over here, and that might sound a little cute, but it isn't. At this point, if you actually know something about monkeys, you wouldn't be more than glad to have them over here. So it's I think it's staring at me. Monkeys are cute, but monkeys are dangerous. So I'd like to end this video with one big shout out to Mr. Monkey, who is actually the most responsible for quitting this interesting video of mine. So yeah, there you go. Until the monkeys go, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye.